Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Game 6 of this series between Pulse and Light. Spawning on the top right corner of Antigua Shipyard, it is the blue player for Team Pulse. It is Kane.
And his opponent spawning in the lower left location is the red Terran, Binsky, representing Team Light. Now, Binsky is definitely one of the better players that Team Light has on their roster. I mean, you can count Kawhi, of course, and several of the others, but Binsky is that hard-hitting, very scary Terran player. And if there's anyone that's going to bring Kane down, it's going to be Binsky.
That's a tall order on his hands, especially if this is the Kane from Command and Conquer, because that guy is quite the badass.
Bald mofo.
Indeed.
Well, Binsky, we'll see what he chooses to open with here. There's several variations, of course. You know, a lot of people like that bio play. You can drop, you can hit multi-prong attacks to keep Zerg on their feet, or you can just go straight for mech. And a mech army, of course, is very strong, very scary.
Problem is, the mech army is very, very vulnerable while you're teching up to that and getting that critical mass of siege tanks, that critical mass of Thors, that you really need to crush the Zerg, so it's going to be interesting to see what he goes for. Maybe he's got a good harassment game plan in store for us if he wants to do that mech route.
Yeah, definitely that timing window where you don't have a lot of Thors out. Something as simple as Mutalisks can come in and really cause some severe damage because you're relying mostly on Thors and missile turrets for your anti-air, and missile turrets are not the most mobile anti-air defenses.
Wish they were Spore Crawlers sometimes. Wish you could just move your missile turrets as Terran.
How would you uproot a missile turret? It's like a building, concrete, in the ground, spikes.
They could put wheels on it.
So we got like a Wall-E missile turret.
Yeah, something like that.
So meanwhile, our Zerg player here, KNSC2, just going for that early hatchery. Pretty standard. Pool following up shortly after. And Binsky, not quite going for the command center just yet, although it does look like with this gasless choice, he may go for one early.
Yeah, usually when we see this exact mineral count out of a Terran at this time, we usually see a expansion off of no gas or a lot of barracks. This time it's going to be gasless expand, which is the usual route.
Now this is really nice too, because right now we don't know which direction Binsky is going with this, but with a gasless expand, if we see double gas coming down soon, we might see that typical Hellion Banshee opening from him. But for now he just has the one barracks down, and yep, there goes the two gas I was just speaking about, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see some barbecue alive with Hellions followed up by some Banshees.
Yeah, this could be definitely Hellion Banshees, as we do have the double gas. That's become standard very quickly in Terran versus Zerg recently.
Yeah, a large part of this because it works so well. Even if your opponent knows it's coming, it's not easy to deal with it because between Hellions and Banshees, they're both very mobile, very harass-heavy units.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the equivalent of a water-type Pokemon using Water Gun on, say, a Geodude. It's just super effective no matter what, even if the Pokemon knows that it's coming.
Unfortunately, we don't have cast or cam, so you guys can't see me frown at Garyoakrobotron right now. But thank you for the Pokemon analogy. You are roping in more viewers via the odds Pokemon fan who's tuning in just now, checking out our broadcast for the first time, going, "What's StarCraft? Oh, it's like Pokemon."
It is. Some types are more effective against others.
Can you imagine if Banshees actually had like a super effective type attack versus Queens? Like, oh my god. It'd be like Marauders doing bonus damage to Armored or something.
Yeah, that would be like Banshees like Digivolving a couple of times.
You can't, no, Digimon, while cool, you can't bring that in the same reference we're talking about Pokemon. It doesn't work. Although that show was my childhood, and I loved it, in the movie, I think it was the first movie I ever watched where I had just like straight up goosebumps for like 30 minutes out of excitement. But getting more into this, we do see that factory completing now with a reactor on the barracks, so this will definitely be Hellions.
And a starport.
With the barracks transferring over, if we see a tech lab, there will 100% be Banshee follow-up to this. And with the large gas count that we have out of Binsky, I would not... Yep, there it is. No surprise as the tech lab does come down.
Yeah, that guy's got more gas banked up than Enron right now.
KNSC2 is a very strong, very notable StarCraft 2 player, so I mean, he's probably seen and encountered and had to deal with Banshee Hellion openings several times in the past. We'll see if he's ready for it this game. But right now, just looking around his base, no evolution chambers, and more importantly, nothing close to lair. So a Cloak Banshee could come in and do some really hardcore damage.
He should be able to get one of the two up in time, because I believe pretty much every standard Zerg build in the playbook incorporates one of those two into the build by this time before the Banshees are going to hit and do too much damage.
Binsky taking control of that watchtower, frying that one Zergling alive, but that does kind of give away to the fact that Hellions are on the field. But again, this is nothing that I'm sure Kane isn't already expecting. We do have 2 evolution chambers already nearing completion at the top of the ramp, so at least Spore Crawlers can have the potential to be down in time.
Yep, and this is quite standard, so he should be getting his +1/+1 very soon. There it is.
Oh, and Binsky trying to skirt right past these queens, gonna make it into the natural. Actually, forget that, going straight up into the main. And 4 Hellions can do a lot of damage to drones as the barbecue begins. Starts frying them alive. BBQ!
It only takes 3 Hellion hits to kill a drone, even if they're unupgraded, so the 4th is good insurance there.
Yeah, you will almost definitely lose one to a queen anytime you come in for that Ras, but he does pick off a lot of drones. 9 drones killed at this point for the cost of, well, he'll probably lose all the Hellions when it's all said and done. But still, 9 drones is 9 drones.
Yeah, he killed a couple of links, so that right there, pound for pound, is more bang for your buck, and you add in the lost mining time, and you come out quite a bit ahead if you're Binsky.
Yeah, and the Spore Crawler going down right away as well. I guess he kind of just expects, oh, well, there's Hellions. I guess Banshees are the follow-up. So another Spore Crawler. It is natural as well. We see that one Banshee floating around. It should get in here and be able to pick off a couple drones before that Spore Crawler completes. And Lone Hellion trying to get up here and do some additional damage.
A couple Hellion hits actually makes it so the Banshee can pick off the drones in 1 shot instead of 2.
Good point, Garyoakrobotron. The Banshee is getting quite a few of these. 5 kills at this point as it just skirts away home safely. Total
and it looks like
14 workers killed at this point.
Looks like Binsky is indeed going for mech. We see 2 factories and 2 armories on the way, as well as his 3rd base.
Factories are located on the low ground at the natural. It's kind of a nice spread because there's a huge choke up here into the main, and it's really annoying trying to get all your big, beefy Thors and tanks out of the base when they're getting stuck on one another.
Yeah, Thors are pretty fat, and they get stuck on a lot of things, kind of like Tauren in World of Warcraft. God, I hated Tauren.
Binsky is putting out a 3rd base, is nearing completion, but Kane has had his up for a while, and it's already half saturated, mining pretty happily.
Those Lynx tried to retake the watchtower, but that doesn't work too well when there's a Banshee and a few Hellions sitting there.
Yeah, and look at the worker count right now. It is 57 to 46. I mean, mules help close that difference, but it's nothing to make up for 10 extra workers.
And indeed, there's a lot more drones on the way, so that's what you really need to do, because he probably has guessed mech is coming at this point. So you just want to get as far ahead as you can before mech can start massing up.
Yeah, either pump those Mutalisks or get Broodlords on the field. You need to one or the other.
Oh,
Binsky
that was
getting a nice choke between the Vespene Geyser and the minerals.
Some of those Hellion shots were beautiful. So many Lynx got roasted. Looking at units lost, 1,600 lost for Kane and only 900 for Binsky.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kane is throwing down a hatchery and an infestation pit right now.
Which makes a lot of sense. He's getting +2/+2 right now, and usually when you have double upgrades for your ground forces, that's when you usually want to go Ling Infestor and then transition into something else like Infestor Broodlord.
Yeah, and this little skirmish. Yeah, it does pick off those queens. The Overseer was there to help with detection, but not enough damage to take out those cloaked Banshees. And Hellions are trying to kite these Zerglings around.
And they do so very effectively. Almost all the Lings are dead. These Ling numbers are low, and almost all of Binsky's losses have been in Hellions, and they're extremely expendable if you're mech. It's the tanks and the Thors that you worry about, so if you can keep trading Hellions for whatever else all day, like that right there, then you're going to come out ahead.
The beautiful hold position underneath the extractor. 19 workers killed at this point. He moves out to fry even more alive.
21 workers killed now. These Lings should clean up the Hellions.
But these Banshees are still free to roam. I mean, this evolution chamber might just fall before the armor finishes teching.
And looks like it does. Wow. And it looks like we did miss a run-by at the south part of the map. The command center is at 530 health, and quite a few SCVs have died.
Oh, wow, yeah. 12 gone.
So, blow for blow.
Doing some nice harass, but there's Hellions here now with Blue Flame. This should deter these Zerglings.
With +1 attack, that's 21 damage versus light, so they 2-shot drones, they 2-shot Zerglings. Yeah, seems good.
Meanwhile, these Banshees are still doing a lot of damage and a lot of harass. The Overseer is following them closely. Oh, and the one Banshee getting focused, but manages to get away with 5 health. As another Queen falls, and the big thing is, I mean, like...
Oh, they just dodged the Infestors that popped out.
Yeah, the timing on that was perfect, but the big thing is, like, you lose these Queens, and it's whatever, it's minerals, but you're more importantly losing that larva production. And we have Kane putting down a 4th in the middle of the map, very bold. And, oh, actually, Binsky doesn't even see it. And just doing a time check real quick, 14:04 as I speak.
Same here. He sees
Awesome.
it now that he is a watchtower.
Yeah,
with
a lot
those
of Hellions
Hellions.
here. Blue Flame is good, but Fungal Growth is better if Kane can just catch them.
That's
It
a
looks
lot
like
of
this-
audacity from Kane, as you said. I mean, the rule of this map is you need to control the center if you want to take the fourth, and I don't think he has enough to take the center right now.
No, I don't either, but there are a lot of... Oh man, there's some tanks and some Thors, and the cool thing is with that +1 upgrade, tanks will one-shot Zerglings, regardless of how much armor upgrades they have, so he's in a... Binsky, if positioned correctly, is in a really nice position to take on what's coming his way. Which, oh, I thought I was moving out for a second. There is a lot of roaches with this army.
Yeah, that is quite a few roaches. 20 to be exact, and looks like we got Neural Parasite on the way.
And a command center come down from Binsky. Curious to see if he's just going to use the pump SCVs or actually float this away to be another base. But there's nowhere he can really do this safely. I mean, to the right, there's a Zergling waiting, so that won't even land. The middle is, of course, a good choice if he can hold it. But right now, Kane SC2 is spread out very nicely to basically flank any attack, but actually, 4 Hellions are going to skirt by on the western half of the map as they try and come up to the third. And we'll
At the
see if-
same time, the Banshees are just going in from the south, going east.
Yeah, there's no anti-air aside from those fungals. The Hellions are chased back for now. He really wants to get in and do some drone damage, but actually all 5 of the Banshees are heading towards the main, and there's a Spore Crawler there, but it's no match for 5 Banshees.
Looks like we got a really late Spire coming out, so it looks like Broodlords is going to be the next step here, which is always a good choice against mech. Can these Banshees actually pick off this infestation pit?
Oh man, Neural Parasite is nearing completion, but it won't finish in time.
Those Banshees just bruising up the hive a little bit. They're going to have to get out of there. Uh-oh. They got
Queen's
caught by
on
a
them,
great
and
fungal.
there are the Fungals, forcing that decloak.
5 Banshees killed for only an infestation pit. I don't think that was a very good trade.
It did deny Fungal Garyoak, and trying to deal with Thors when you have no, or sorry, not Fungal, Neural Parasite is going to be devastatingly hard to deal with. There's so
This
many
is true.
Hellions too, oh my gosh. I mean, they don't do much damage versus Armored, but when you've got about 14 of them, all doing splash damage, it becomes worthwhile.
Yep. Those Thors are actually wreaking some havoc on those Overlords.
Yeah, pushing up here. He should have no problem taking out this 4th base. Kane looking to just sacrifice it as he evacuates all the drones.
Some of them actually came back on auto mine accidentally. losing
Oh
a few.
no, yeah, getting fried alive by the Hellions. And now actually Kane's supply block the later stuff. He is moving up though with the Infestors. Lots of Infested Terrans coming down. Can the Thors do enough damage to deal with this? There's a lot
Seems
of
like
things.
the answer is yes.
Very perfectly. He's doing a lot of damage here. This frontal Thor going to take a lot of the damage, but no, actually left standing. And Binsky comes out of that very much ahead.
That's a lot of +2 siege tanks. Those roaches could not trade cost efficiently at all with the mech, and that's what you want to do with the roaches.
Yeah, and, oh, Binsky taking that 4th. He's making a planetary fortress. In the meanwhile, though, Kane is morphing a Greater Spire, and this is that point in the game where if he can get Broodlords out, there's not a whole lot of anti-air, just a couple of Thors.
If is the big word here because there's still 60 seconds left on that Greater Spire, plus a Broodlord build time.
Yeah, we do have Corruptors on the way, but again, it's just a matter of if he can get them out on time. He can't afford to lose a lot of roaches because he needs to save that gas bank for those Broodlords, but actually pushing up, taking out quite a few of the tanks. Unfortunately, the Thors are still left standing.
Is it enough, though?
Banshee still going to town, finally being cleaned up by these Corruptors. Not enough energy to cloak.
There was an Overseer there, so it didn't really matter either way. And
Tanks
this mech army is drawing dangerously close to all of the critical Zerg bases right now, and there are still no Broodlords on the field. This Greater Spire is not done.
Yeah, slowly creeping up. The Greater Spire is like so close to being finished, so Kane just needs to buy a little more time. He is taking out a lot of Binsky's tanks, a lot of friendly fire splash damage going on. However, these 2 Thors in the back are still just going to town on all of these roaches.
Those reinforcements, there's a lot of factories. There's like 5 or 6 factories back at home just pumping units incessantly.
And we do have the 6 Broodlords morphing in. This is Kane's savior type moment. If these Broodlords can get out and do enough damage, he should be able to hold this. However, there's a single Viking with no anti-air to oppose it.
Vinsky sees him. It takes one Viking about 6 years to kill all these Broodlords, though. So he's going to have to pull back into
And here come the Broodlings trying to start this. But unfortunately, Kane's also lost 63 workers at this point while this has been going on.
He's down to 46 drones. It's not a good spot to be in. He has no bank either. He has no way to replenish his losses.
No, and Binsky with a happy double the worker count, mining in the middle of the map. These Overlords misrallied, gonna lose them all to the Thor volleys. And the Roaches do pick off a Thor, but again, it's the question of will it be enough? These Thors are the only anti-air to deal with these Broodlord, but nope. GG.